Okay, I'm going to talk about what I did for my Google 20% project. As you can see here, I have been working on some coding because I really haven't done very much in about 5 years, and I'm a bit of an amateur, but I wanted to get back into it, and this was a good opportunity to. And I thought maybe I could use it, my basic coding knowledge, in the future for a physics classroom. Um, this is kind of rough, but what we have here are two race cars side by side, and you can race them, but you can also set a starting x position, velocity, and acceleration for each of the cars so that you can adjust which one will win, and you can visually see the effects of velocity, and acceleration, and of course where you start in the race. So for example, let me open up control test. Now this is one thing I would change, is I would make this a little bit bigger because the display is small. But as you can see, you start off and you can enter in an x position. So I'm going to start them both at 0. We'll give the first car starting velocity of 2. We'll give the other one 1. So car 1 starts off faster. Come on. But car 2, and of course there's no real units. I don't have units built into here. It's just operating on pixels right now. But car 2 will have a greater acceleration. And this little red button up here, if I click it, then the cars will reset their position. I think they jump back just a hair if they're at 0. And then they take off and race to the end of the screen. And as you can see, car 2 beat car 1. Now you can reset these values so that now car 1 will beat car 2, and if you hit the button again, see, and that just goes to show the importance of acceleration. Now if you set the initial velocity to 10, set this to 0, I don't actually know what will happen here, so it's kind of interesting to find out. So it's moving fast at the start, but this one's going to rapidly catch up. Oh yeah, that acceleration dominates the initial velocity. So stuff like that is really cool. I think that that could make for a practical demonstration in a classroom. And so what was involved in making this? A bit of coding, not a crazy amount. Here's some code that I wrote for car number 1, describing, the program needs to import a display, events, it has x position, y position, velocity, acceleration, whether or not the race has started is a boolean. And I've got this function, start moving. If the race is started, then velocity, it'll travel at this velocity, and the velocity will increase at whatever the rate of acceleration is set to. And once it reaches the end of the stage, which is 475 in this case, then the race stops, so the cars stop moving. That's pretty identical to car number 2. Really, I think there's just a couple things I had to change there, so that made it easy for me to do that. And then lastly, I put some code in. Well, there's more code. This is for the wheels, whether or not the wheels should start rotating. So if you noticed at the start, control test movie, the wheels are not spinning, and as soon as I hit this button, the wheels start to spin. So that's a little feature I added in. There's some extra code on kind of the main screen here. Let me see if I can make that bigger. So yeah, this is the majority of the code, setting up those text fields where you can enter in the information, and then all the details associated with those text fields is kind of all this jargon. And then here, this is the last bit. This has to do with starting the race. So I created that red box, which is the start button, and it tells everything that it needs to start doing stuff based on what the user input. So, I mean, I think it's a good demonstration of basic kinematics, position relative to velocity and acceleration. So again, test movie. These are all toggleable. So, well, I didn't show one where the position differs. So we'll start car X at 200, or I'm sorry, car 1 at 200, car 2 at 0. Then we'll give this car not a lot of velocity and not a lot of acceleration. We'll give this one a bit more, and it'll be interesting to see with the head start that car number 1 gets, will it win the race? I think that acceleration's still going to kick butt. Oh, barely. So car 2 just barely pulls ahead in that scenario. So it's kind of cool. I can submit the actual file, but I do believe that this particular software is becoming somewhat outdated. So what I'd like to be able to do in the future is get familiar with more current software. That way I can share this more readily. At the moment, I think it would only be usable on my computer unless I purchased like an Apple account and became a developer and actually put it out as an iPad app. In which case I would obviously spruce it up, add a bunch of title stuff and whatnot. But for starters, I think this is something that with a little more time invested would be good to show to a class. So yeah, that's what I've been working on for my Google 20%. It took a bit of effort to refamiliarize myself with all the coding syntax and stuff, but I'm pretty happy with what came out of it. So, thanks.